Hey guys, it's Tom from SpeedingTube. Welcome back to the channel, and welcome to Autostyl in Cornwall. Autostyl builds some of the coolest vehicles out there. We've got a nice hot rod here. It's going to have a Chevy straight six in there with a custom bag set up at the front. We've also got an RS200 kit car over there, T4 in for some rust work. But more importantly, as you know, I've been using Autostyl for 3 years now. These guys have done quite a lot of work on the van for me, and now has come the time to actually get this thing painted up. Rust, unfortunately, has started to win. The reality is this thing's going to be used on track a lot. The last thing I want to do is take it on track with thousands and thousands and thousands of pounds worth of paint. You know, I can't take a car on track and then if someone hits me, go, oh, you know, I've got a £5 paint job. You know, if you're taking your car on track, you've got to be prepared to have a couple of knocks and bumps. That's the nature of it. Ant said, look, when I've got a bit of space in a booth free and I've got other jobs on, I'll let you know. You prep it and I'll paint it. This little booth came up here. Now, of course, this isn't going to take weeks and weeks and weeks. This is just a job to buy a bit of extra time and get some colour on there for me. Now, of course, this van's always been white. The arches are on now. These are the Project 2 arches which are on. We're going to put some brackets on for those in a bit. So the finish of this van has nothing to do with Autostyl. You know, get it good enough to go on track. It's not going to be a show vehicle. So for the moment, I'm going to get those bits up, clean up the ceiling, get that prepped, and get that all sanded down. So yeah, loads of cleaning to do, loads of rust wire wheeling to do. The main area is all to do around the windscreen because it's absolutely shattered. I'm going to DA the whole van soon, which is dual action. It's just like basically a polisher but with a sanding bit on the end and a vacuum attachment. I'm going to take the exhaust out now because that's all going to have to be cleaned around there and painted. There's going to be an aluminium heat shield that goes on the outside riveted on, which will look pretty cool. So it's all, we're not far off now. It's nice to see all the bits coming together. For those of you that have been with, you know, following the channel now for 4 odd years, this feels like the final step for me. There's always going to be power upgrades, there's going to be bigger turbos and everything else, but this is kind of the final bit of the puzzle that I'm putting together. Rust here. This is also letting water in as well now because of course it's lifted away and water's coming in to the van. Right guys, the screen is out and Ash is just going to whiz across the top of the windscreen now. Fingers crossed we don't go through. The idea is to get it as thin as possible and make the van as light as possible without getting any holes in. Alright? More progress on the inside now, just cleaning all of the adhesive back that held the old headlining up. Got some daylight here. Here's a patch job I did about 4 years ago just to buy me some extra time. It's going to need cleaning out, wire wheeling and a bit of welding in there. Check this out, it looks brand new, factory. Hello. Big thanks to Ash here, legend at Autostyl. Does loads of the cool builds around here and he's just fixed up the gutter. Okay, that's all around the windscreen done. Ash is doing the skirt brackets, so he's just popping those on now. Reason we're doing the side skirt brackets is to hold the skirts in place, but also for the under tray that's going to go all the way from the back. Keeping up the theme of me sharing my successes and my failures. I bought a tailgate off Facebook that I thought looked straight, came up cheap. No, buy cheap, buy twice. That's exactly what's happened in this case. There's a couple of dents as you go along. It'd be good for someone who just wants to bung one on and bung a window in on an old camper. But for me, obviously, I just want one a bit straighter. You could get that straight, but it would take probably 3 or 4 days to get that right. So I've actually bought another one just from down the road. From a guy called Keith down the road. He's got loads of T4 bits, so he's really handy. He's sorted me out with bits and pieces in the past as well. Now move on to the rest of the bodywork. This has all been cleaned. The first stage is getting all the rust off. Now done that. There's just this last little bit to clean out here. And we're kind of then ready to go around with the DA. So we're getting there, albeit very slowly. One thing that has become very apparent this last 4 days is how much time this stuff takes. All the little stages and the steps. The Autostyl guys here have actually been working on this one for a couple of days and they've managed to get so much done because they're pros. The degree of prep that they're doing is insane. But then of course, this is what people bring their vehicles here for. On the other hand, mine being a track vehicle, I'm just trying to do what I can. I'm going to go around now. Kev's going to show me how to feather in the fillers shortly. Which will then mean I can start smoothing things off and going around and getting all the panels ready for primer. The rams go on there. I'm just going to take a tape measure over and measure out on the van that's across the way to see whereabouts they go. I think they go pretty much in the middle, but we'll see in a second. Oh, it's about 25mm up and about 20mm in, so I've just marked them out there. Going to put the pilot holes in, punch the hole first so you don't wander all over the bodywork. There you go, there's the first ones. Here's tailgate number 2. This one's much straighter, in much better nick. I've also got the spare bit of glass there from the other ones. I get it made up in 3 or 4mm polycarbonate. I've got the bracket here to go on, marked out the holes. It usually overlays just a few millimetres, about 3 or 4mm over from this line here. Right, here's the holes on the inside. Use the punch to put a little hole there for the drill bit to go in and guide through, and I'll drill them right out to that full width. Right, come to the end of another day. This takes ages. I've got all the old paint off, the old aerosol off the wings. Going to be able to pop those off just a bit there. I don't want to have to unstick them. There's no point really going to all that hassle because all of that's been treated under there already. And of course it's fiberglass, so it won't rust. It's going to 500 it all down, and the roof is looking pretty good. That's a good solid 8 or 9 hours just doing the roof and just going around with the DA. I've gone 320 and then I'm going to 500. Just to smooth it all off. So yeah, it gives you a bit of an insight into how long this sort of stuff takes. I mean, I'm well into 7 or 8 full days of work by now. It's good fun to have a go. I work behind a desk for 9.5 hours a day. I don't really get a lunch break because I work in finance, so you're just constantly on the phone all the time. So it's really nice to actually, you know, do something with my hands. Yeah, it's really therapeutic. You just put your music on and you just, it's almost not like work, but it really is a lot of work, if that makes sense. You know, these boys here, they're completely stripping the vans down, right down to the bare metal, taking all the panels off, welding bits in. This is basically just a bare minimum paint job. I'm not even doing the engine bay. And it's a big old graft. There's the hole for the exhaust. There's going to be an aluminium piece that goes over here. You know, we're not going to get soot and everything all over the bodywork because this does get very dark and blackened out with all of the flames. I actually burnt some of the paint back here with the flames previously as well. Well, this marks the end of what's been about a month of work, evenings and a couple of weekends as well. It takes much longer than you think. Much longer.
Much longer than you think, more like.
Well, see, Ant told me before I started this, he goes, no, you'll need a bit of time to do it, it's going to take you longer than you think. And I was thinking, that's fine, I'll blast it out in 4 days. It's not possible. I really had this idea in my head. As many of you can imagine, when you've got a track car or something that you want to drive hard, you think, I don't want a perfect job, don't need one. All I'm going to do is I'm just going to do the bare minimum, and you know, I don't mind if it looks alright. But I can tell you now, it's just not possible. It's taken me 3 hours to get the aerosol primer and paint off of the wings that I put on in the first place. These are my fiberglass ones. The fitment on them is really good. But unfortunately, I thought I could aerosol them at home. But now that we're actually doing everything properly, I've had to take everything off, which has been an absolute ball ache. All of this has been taken back here. So by the time that that's all rusted out underneath there, I'll be able to chop bits in and out, and I can take one arch off at a time and try and, you know, fix it or patch it where I needed. But I did actually manage to get a little bit of rust treatment in there about a year ago when I took everything off, which of course has already failed because it's rattle can, so it was a waste of time. Compared to where I was and where I started, I really do feel like I've accomplished a lot, and I'm probably really only halfway there. So when paint shops say to you it's going to take us a lot of time to do this and do this, I mean, for example, you think, okay, these bits look alright, but if you look up on the roof, as soon as I actually started to sand it back, there were areas of rust that just appeared out of nowhere. And of course they all need treating, they need priming, they need blocking back. As you know, this is not going to be a show van. I've always been very clear that this is going to be a van I want to be able to thrash around, and if I get stone chips, I get stone chips. I cannot wait to see it finished. It's going to be all black. There's still a load of work to do, and the most fun part of it is that I've been able to have a crack at it myself, rather than me just getting the rattle can out and doing the whole thing in black and doing it wrapped to black. I have to be honest, I was tempted. I know a lot of the guys on the VWT4 forums have done their vans in wrapped to black, and they actually look really cool. I think you guys have done a great job. But the problem is I just wanted to have that gloss black, because my other two cars are black, and I wanted the van to be black as well, so it all matches and looks good. As I keep going, I'll just put some more and more steps in as we go. There's still loads more to do, just so many little bits, like even getting into all these little nooks and crannies, getting into all the bits in here, taking everything back. there are going to be plenty of videos out there for you guys to watch, and I'm hoping to be able to work with Ant on some content as well. So this is a 1941 Chevy, and this is just some of the cool stuff that these guys do. There's an RS200 kit car here. It's got a Subaru motor in the back of it by the look of it. Yeah, I'll try and keep you up to date with some content, but for the moment there's a quick little update on where we are, and we'll continue on with this when I get back from skiing in about 2 weeks' time. And sort of like skiing or snowboarding, but you didn't want to go, did you, mate?
Didn't want to go?
Yeah.
Bastard.
Right guys, this is exciting. Kev has sent me a picture. She's in the booth and she has been primed. So let's go and have a little look. Oh my god, this looks amazing. All primered in black. There are some pinholes and bubbles that appeared here in the primer where I'd actually taken the gel coat back and the primer couldn't quite sit on, so Kev's actually filled it in for me, so I can now just sand that back. I'm going to have to block the van down now to get it all nice and smooth, down at 500 grit. Absolutely smashed it. Kev, you're a legend. So that's the main body. Now I've got the front bumper. Now I'm just going to get 180 on here, sand it all the way down using this DA here. Just put a 180 pad on just to take it back. There are some war wounds on here where I've been caning along, stones flicking up and everything else, where I've been, you know, grounding out in places. So I'm not going to fuss too much on it, but just get it back. Put a bit of P40 on there, flatten it down, nice and easy. There you go, 1 hour in now. About a third of the way before I have to start getting the sandpaper out and getting right in all the cracks, which is a bit that takes all the time. It's actually coming up nice. This is the Audio Sport VR bumper done by Kelly in Audio Sport. It's got the splitter on the bottom like the VR6 bumper, but it's actually moulded in. Really love the look of this bumper, so I had to have it. Luckily Kelly is just down the road, about 10 minutes from where I live, so really handy. If you need one, give them a shout. Right guys, that's taken 3 hours of solid sanding to get to that point. I'm not far off, I've just got to get in all the little cracks. I think another couple of hours, or an hour or so. I think another hour, maybe a bit more, that'll be finished, ready for primer. And then it's cracking onto the tailgate, which is through there, through this epic bay window with a Beamer V8 in the back. Got to be up again at 5:30 tomorrow, so time to say goodnight. Right guys, that's taken me 5 hours. With the DA and also with the 180 grit paper there. I'm going to put some 300 on there now and just take it back lighter. Ant's in here burning some midnight oil as well. He's got 3 IM606. He's got one of these in his Grumman. Really loves these diesels, didn't you, mate?
Love the filth.
So yeah, we've got some awesome stuff in here still. All custom suspension geometry at the front. That's really good. I'm now going to get the doors and start prepping everything else. There's so much cool stuff here, it's ridiculous. But yeah, that just shows you it took me about 10 minutes to spray that bumper, and it's taken me 5 hours to get it all off. Yeah, that has been a mission. Right, onto the doors.